How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another Spectrum Vlogs, and in today's video we're going to be looking at a brief overview of my original Sony Playstation 1 and a unboxing of my newly found and sourced PS1 LCD screen combo kit as an unboxing and comparison between the two, monster, machines that these things are. So without further ado, I guess I'll go ahead and start off the video by prefacing it with a brief little sort of information as to the differences that were paid for these these two separate game consoles. And for this PS1 combo kit, I actually had to dish out a total of $400 as the listed price. This one had a brief backstory that a video game collector got his hands on it and had this sitting in his closet as somewhat of a nostalgic look what I got kind of thing, just to sort of show off on the side, but not really actively play the game. So this is going to be my own personal experience of unboxing this for myself and actually putting it to use here in 2024. So of course this game console releasing somewhere around the year of 2001, it would be 20 something years old at this point, and still definitely a high ticketed item to find if you can actually find one out in the wild in this format, where it has the actual LCD screen latched onto the back of the PS1 more compacted console, as opposed to the larger larger version of it that had the AV multi-out reader on the back. So there were a variety of these that were released, the first ones being with the AV out and then having three cables that go out to the TV, and of course having your inputs and your different sort of parallel input jacks there that I have no idea what that actually does, and a basic power cable that goes into the back of the console. So this one, originally when this was actually given to me, this was passed down from my dad along with the original Grand Theft Auto, the first trilogy. I guess that was a top-down style of game. So that was my very first experience with the PlayStation 1, as I had always gravitated towards digging this out of his closet to on the top shelf kind of thing, as he had it preserved for a number of years. And I always wondered, okay, I have the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 4, the PSP, I had just about every step of the way, except I never had one of these on my own kind of thing. So this one is a hand-me-down kind of thing. Here, you bug about it so much that basically if you can get the controller and if you can source out all the power cables and find them somewhere, then you can play the games. The very first games, as I said, my first experience was the Grand Theft Auto trilogy. However, another game that stood out near and dear to my heart all the way to this current day is this game here, Darkstone, which I don't actually have the outer sleeve. This one does have the backing sleeve on it. It's an action adventure open world sort of experience that you're looking at a asymmetrical format that you run around either as a wizard, a sorcerer, sorceress, a healer, a priest, I think a medieval knight, different selections of character styles, and you can name them and have your own sort of style of playing. The knight is more of a swordsman. The sorcerer, of course, uses magic or sorcery powers, and an archer would have more projectiles. So this game definitely had a variety of exploration attached to it, and I found that to be one of the most captivating experiences when I first got into Darkstone, not even knowing where it came from or what the original developers had in mind when creating this. But this was my first sort of action adventure style of gameplay that had menus that were so in depth that I couldn't really understand too much of it in my younger years. But then now, having played games that were very similar, such as The Witcher, and games where were more modern and would have in-depth sub menus for your weapon choices and your healing choices and stuff like that, this game was one of the very first experiences in that realm that I had. So this was essentially the foundation of my entertainment as a kid growing up. Of course, this later on came with a hunted down version of the original PS1 controller, and of course your 8 megabyte memory card that would typically be found in and around any swap meet of the time. These were like a dime a dozen kind of thing. In this case, this was $7, as the listing is there on the back. I have 3 of them, and 2 of those actually came from this deal that I got here. So I pretty much later on in life, now 31 years old, went to an indoor swap meet nearby and found this with a price tag of $400. Looking on eBay currently, these are going for about $1,200 if you want the original setup that's like untouched and like not ruined by any kind of modders or anything like that would get their hands on that LCD screen and then repurpose them for other projects. So this is an all original, all like inclusive setup, a standalone setup that's main purpose is to get you away from the television set, especially like jokingly, as we would say, with like nostalgia, like those TVs with the booty on them, like the huge back portion of the TV. Now in 2024, that's like a lifetime away, where now we have like TVs hanging from our walls and like they're flat screen and they're super paper thin, and like OLED and QLED and all this other new technology. But of course, in my childhood, I was so used to those TVs that if they fall, they're gonna kill you. It's like a dinosaur of a TV that weighs a ton. And there's still a lot of them floating around nowadays in, again, swap meets and stuff like that. So you can find them in random, third-party sellers. And so still, if you wanted the full retro experience, of course, you can still like get your hands on those and still find a fairly inexpensive original PlayStation 1 console. I did, upon purchasing this one, see that these are currently priced at around $85. So again, dime a dozen, but gold, on the shelf kind of thing. So pretty much when it comes to the actual unboxing experience of this, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my, again, modern technology Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses to have a POV style of the unboxing experience. The only caveat with these is they film 3 minutes at a time, so it'll be in scenes. However, I'm gonna like try to include every bit of information as I can within those intervals of time. So next scene will be my POV of unboxing this. For the unboxing portion, you can see I'm like, hands-free for this whole thing, and there's a reflection of myself in my my phone. But without further ado, because again, I'm filming with 3-minute intervals at a time, you can see that $400 price tag there. Immediately, the welcoming package that you get is the brochure, which is a really cool detail that has been preserved in time, also marked with that 400. The first thing off the side here is that sort of coaxial cable, I believe, that goes to the back of the bypass of the screen of this console to attach to your TV. Furthermore, I guess digging down into the side, you can see that it comes with a DualShock controller that is comparable to the original, much more like brick version of a controller. And there's a significant difference of the color, and the main difference being the analog sticks here. As you can tell, there's still plenty of life left in this controller. It's still nice and fresh when it comes to that. So placing that aside here, for the main focus, I'm going to go ahead and tilt this off to the side so nothing falls apart as I go ahead and remove the packaging here. So at first glance, we have the charging brick up top, which gives 7.5 volts to the wall, which I have a power supply here that I will be using to plug it in and do an actual fire up test run. Removing the styrofoam packaging and taking off this wrap, you can see that this is this laptop sort of desktop display fashion of a console, much smaller than the original PlayStation 1. So the rebranded PS1 that came out later on would have the pop-up screen here with the 2 speakers, dim up and down, volume up and down, and the original protective sleeve that goes over that screen. One of the biggest takeaways from the older console is the open button. The only difference really between the two button wise is there's no reset one, it's just power on and off. This one is very finicky, as you can see, stays down, and you have to kind of like give it a little bit of play, a bit of love taps to then get it, you know, to latch back to the closed position. In which case, on the opposite end with the PS1, as you can see, it's a little bit more of a slim action there. And obviously, if you have your fingers placed right here on this little rib cage area, you're good to go. So besides the actual, you know, button layout and the differences that are between the two consoles, of course, we want to get to the sort of like main magic of it all, and that is with this power supply being routed into this basic, you know, extension cable to then be plugged into the back with the barrel tip of the DC in 7.5 volts. And of course, that way we can see the first boot up menu. I'm going to quickly unravel this controller and plug it into the port 1. Then my main memory card that I've used on this older console will then go into the first slot. So we will then place my favorite so far game, Darkstone, into the disc spinner and get our first boot up. So you see how obviously iconic that startup screen is. Shows obviously Take-Two Interactive, like its main menu that you would get on the main TV. And you can hear the little disc, you know, starting up. I'm going to go ahead and skip past the main menus. And first and foremost, I definitely want to also try the dim. It's relatively high at this time. But using the example of that little orc looking guy, subtracting all, taking away all of the backlighting still gives you like much more vibrant colors, much more of that contrast feel. Volume wise, we're at half. Let's see if I go, see if I could load. So, I'm just going to call this A. And as you can tell, there's plenty of life left into the controller. So the analogs don't seem to have any action. It's all directional button. Beginning as a novice. Skipping the little cinematic just to get straight into the gameplay. All right, so we are now in the starting position for the player, and amazingly enough, I was actually afraid that the analog might not read during the gameplay, but as you can see, we have a full tank control style now in a full 360. But besides that, I'm gonna go ahead and increase the backlighting so you can see how vibrant that becomes. The soundtrack of this is like absolutely amazing with that medieval style. So we're at full capacity for the little onboard speakers here. And now my favorite game just became that much better. I'm gonna go ahead and like pay these musicians. And again, for reference, this game is called Darkstone. So if you find this out in the wild, definitely highly recommend it. I'm not going to do that. Probably because of copyright. But as we know, she will never find a shelter. Perry the Publican. Yeah. If you hit O. Oh, now I think we're coming across our first little caveat here. O may or may not work on this. Oh, it actually does. So, okay. So you can sell artifacts, buy, rest, talk to. His little shopping menu is here. Again, full backlit screen. If I dim everything, you can see it goes like obviously plenty dim enough. That's pretty much what I'm going to be using it as, just to like sort of save on the screen and not damage it so much. But prior to this, what I had to use as far as directional buttons, D-pad, I was kind of stuck with like having to move in this fashion. So it's very stiff, but like this analog controller makes all the difference in the world. So this is like a super setup, which definitely for the time was like not only cutting edge, but this would rival, obviously in today's world for me, this rivals the PSP and then later on the Nintendo Switch. As spoiled as we are in the modern day, everybody seems to be going for the PlayStation 5 and games of the future. But look how amazing, you know, it is to take a step back in time. So obviously it speaks for itself. All right, so obviously you guys can see, you know, we're back on the main view here, but you can see how amazing this you know, gameplay is, and how small and compact this whole design is, where literally like one of the accessories that they have for this, you know, console is a power in that goes to the cigarette lighter of a car, and that makes it all the more fun to play. However, when it comes to my personal preferences of what I would trust more so is now powering it off, is to actually get a DC in 7.5 volt, keeping it with the same safe, much more safe and branded Sony power brick, and instead to get like one of those like power supply banks to then plug this into and run it with the 7.5 volts going straight into the back. Because when you're messing with the voltage of these as like the power supply inputs, that's where it could get a little bit dodgy, where you could even cause damage to the LCD display in the back. It might overshoot it and give it a little bit too much power, and then you'll get flickering or like native sort of problems when it comes to the image, you know, from that converting power into usable energy. So to keep it safe, of course, if you find the matched wattage, this pulls at about I would say it's like a relative 15 to 20 watts of power during use, and that is a constant supply of power, versus, you know, one of those recharge things being at 65 watts of RMS, or like a constant flow of power. So you could get plenty of juice out of one of those battery packs plugged into the back of this as a constant output of just 20 watts at a time at peak volume of usage, and have this in your car or in the park or anywhere else, and take this thing out to see a little bit of that daylight, to get a little bit more of that yellow sheen on it from sun baking. There have been other tests out there where people have hit the road with these to sort of like have it a day in the life and like in the field kind of playing, which that is like exactly why I paid $400 to get this entire setup, so I can have that experience and be able to, in a world of switches, you can bring Sony out with you and have that I mean, listen to me sounding like a salesperson here, but like that's how fun this thing is, where if you can find it, definitely pick it up. Even separately, if you find the bottom base and you later on source out a third-party screen, I highly recommend that, because nothing beats the experience of having a full console with a stack of video games off to the side that you can pick and choose what your adventure is of that day. Furthermore, besides Darkstone, which we were just like, you know, playing through right now, I also went through and sourced out a lot of the games that I've always wondered about that I may have missed out on during my childhood. So of course, you know, some of the prices are still listed here. Some of them are a little bit steep and others are not so steep, but definitely worth it if you have, you know, the paycheck that matches. So first and foremost, Darkstone, a very close second for $40. I paid $40 for this. The director's cut of Resident Evil 1. The highly sought after, I paid $220 for the greatest hits version of Silent Hill. And this was Silent Hill 1, the very hard to find, you know, highly sought after, especially after the remake of Silent Hill 2 that came out for PS5. This, like, the buzz about this video game is through the roof. Especially if you can find the greatest hits or the original. In my case, I have the bragging rights of being able to say that I have both. So paying an arm and a leg for those are definitely first and foremost like of importance in my collection. I am a huge Star Wars fan, as you can tell. So I definitely had to get Dark Forces. This is a first-person shooter. This one was listed at $30. And super mint condition. All the paperwork is still in there. You can see the disc is still in there. I highly recommend this game for those of you that are fans of 007 FPS, like first-person shooters. This is a very fast rate of gameplay. As you can see, Boba Fett is in the back there in the crosshairs. The level of the weapon stays leveled very much like Duke Nukem, but the bullets seem to lock onto the enemy, so it is a fairly easy game to get through, but it's still worth the adventure. There's a hidden HUD that allows you to have like a backlight, like a headlamp kind of thing, to illuminate some of those darker portions of the game that might not be visible during gameplay, so like it does kind of like help with that. One that I also was curious about was anything Simpsons is always like a really cool find, and the only available one that I found for PlayStation 1 was Simpsons Wrestling. Of course, you have that WrestleMania style, except you get to play as the iconic characters of you know, around Springfield. So that one was listed for $30. I also found a hidden gold mine when I found Tenchu Stealth Assassins. This one was listed for $20. And this one is like a assassin ninja style game where you kind of like sneak around the shadows and you take down bodyguards and you punish those that are like dishonorable, I guess, in ancient or feudal Japan. And when it comes to, you know, the cool thing about that retro feel, you have like a lot of other video games that are listed that are up and coming at that time, which in this case was Apocalypse. And you can obviously play as a, you know, the action hero Bruce Willis in that game. So that's like a funny little detail included for that. I'm also a huge fan when it comes to wizardry and sorcery, so I definitely had to pick up Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. When you meet all the other characters, they look like all potato face, so they're like very 8-bit looking, and that's hilarious because the voice acting is actually fantastic in this game. The playthrough style, you can go anywhere in the castle and free explore. Wield your wand and cast magic around the castle and like fight off like the it says battle evil foes. Let me see, ride your Nimbus 2000. So this actually has like even the ability to play Quidditch, which Hogwarts Legacy did not have that, and that's like the latest release for PS5 and the Nintendo Switch. This is rivaling a 2024 release, so that just goes to show how far, you know, ahead of time these games were. For $14, like, that's crazy. So besides that, I also had to pick this one up, Men in Black. The series Crashdown, I guess, is the name of this game. $20, mainly because in 2024 we all know what all happened at the award ceremony, where where I guess a certain somebody didn't keep somebody's name out their mouth and subsequently got smacked, and that was like a career defining move. And it's hilarious to see the potato face version of that, because like it looks like he would put hands on somebody else, you know, and disrespect an entire comedian. You can so once I saw this on the shelf, I definitely had to pick that up for, you know, just like the funny factor of that. Another huge fandom that I was a huge fan of, I guess, with the original releases of the movies and the series was Rugrats, and I found Rugrats in Paris, the movie, the game. I found this for a very low costing $10 at that same carrier that sold me this PlayStation 1 or PS1 combo pack. So in this one, you run around, you know, as the babies in Paris, and there's an original receipt that came with this. This is shelf 3, item 289. Let me see. It says that the game has some wear and tear. It does not affect the use of the disc. This is a used item, and the case may have light wear. All items, unless otherwise noted, will include the disc, the case, the artwork. Other content such as booklets may vary. And other than that, it doesn't say when this was like, or it does actually. It says it was received in 2019, January of 2019, at a Goodwill. So that's worth keeping with the game. And as far as the actual backing of it, it's perfectly fine. To you know, I can tell that the sensor on this will definitely pick this up. You can play carnival games and go shopping or chopping with Chucky. Explore your Reptar Land, so Reptar Land. Bump your buddies in like a bumper car racing style game. Roar through the streets of Paris as Reptar. So that's like, again, another callback to the original Nickelodeon before that one dude did that weird thing to all those weird other actors that went off and had their weird stories. Original THQ games and Nickelodeon like would obviously prove to have like a really cool cartoon series that I was a fan of as a kid growing up, so I definitely had to get the game. Another flashback in time was Casper Friends Around the World for $12. This one is another sort of like Mario 64 style, like, you know, the camera follows the character. And it says kooky spooky curse has been cast on Casper's mortal mates. Travel the globe and rescue them. Jump, levitate, parachute, fling ghostly spheres, spring into action, and to battle boo bombs. Evil spirits, Casper's unfriendly uncles, and evil kingpin himself, Kibosh. So you're fighting against everything from side scrollers to like 3D style, it looks like. So again, I bought just a huge pile of games without necessarily knowing the backing of them, and so it's always an exciting thing to kind of relive a childhood I never had, I guess, in a sense, where I'm like living this for the first time and geeking out again in 2024. I was a huge fan of Casper the Friendly Ghost, even when it made its DVD release for the live action version of that movie, and it was like a really well done movie, especially where that one he was like a spiritual guide, I guess, who went in to try to like exorcise the demon house with all the ghosts, and he came out with his head turned backwards, and he was still walking down the stairs with his head backwards. That was like one of the first nightmarish experiences I had as a kid. Like, that creeped me out. So big shout out to the original Casper movie. Another huge one, Archer versus a Gorgonite in Small Soldiers. Another amazing retro old school like flashback in time from the 90s. This one is another shooter action adventure where you play as Archer, emissary of the Gorgonites, and you're trying to battle your way through the different levels against the Commando Elite. And it's a full-scale assault, full like 007 style shooter. And this one was actually listed originally at I believe it was $12, I think. mainly because the case had a crack on it, but the game itself is in A1 condition. So I already played this one on that this older PS1 console. And one of the very first games that I did get as a part of the hand-me-down with that was Team Rocket Rescue from Rocket Power, again another Nickelodeon game. This one was part of that original collection, and it does have like a little UPC sticker here. It says Rocket Power Team Rocket Rescue used good, and you can pretty much travel around ocean shores as Auto Rocket or Regina or Reggie Rocket. You can choose a different variety of like skatable or rideable sports, you know, sort of approaches, everything from rollerblades to snowboards to BMX to let me see, snowboard, rollerblade, BMX, everything except for surfing it looks like. But pretty much yeah, you can select which character you want to play as, and it gives you like a different challenge, like time challenges. So almost like the same feel that you would get with Tony Hawk Pro Skater, where it has a timer clicking down and you have a certain goal to meet. So again, THQ release from Nickelodeon, another cool callback to my childhood. So besides all these in-case games, I also do have my own little binocular case that I've converted into carrying other out-of-case games. So calling back to the original or the beginning of the stack of games here, I'm gonna go ahead and pull one of them to show the part 2 version of it, and that of course would be Resident Evil 2. So Resident Evil Director's Cut. So I also have discs 1 and 2 of Resident Evil 2, where you play as Leon, or I forgot what the girl's name is, but yeah, I forgot her name. Veronica? I don't think it was Veronica. Whichever, whatever, her or him, basically. So these are two different perspectives of the same game, where if you play as in your male role, you would then like have to rescue the opposite person. So I believe gameplay was a bit more challenging for the male role as it was from the female role, because the female role had a different location as to where you would begin. I think you were in the precinct, the police precinct at the beginning of the game, I'm not sure, but you have to fight your way out of the building versus fight your way into the building at the beginning of the game. And so this was definitely another game that I'm going to be looking forward to playing with these analog sticks. Another pair that I picked up for very inexpensive was Monsters Inc. Scream Team. That I picked up today for $5. Shrek Treasure Hunt. I don't know really if this is like a top-down style, or if it's like, you know, that Super Mario 64 style playing. I don't know. I'm gonna have to like test it out and see what I get. This was one of my dad's favorite games that he handed down to me, which was Rush Extreme Racing San Francisco. So this came with that console. He also had Gran Turismo. He had amazing taste in racer games. Final Fantasy Tactics. The very classic Spyro Year of the Dragon with the backing of Rayman. 007 Tomorrow Never Dies. Fighting Force 2. That's an awesome one too. These were like a little selection of like demos and let me see, Crash Bandicoot, Crash Team Racing, a very scraped up, unfortunately, Alien Resurrection, one of those PlayStation 38 games in one, retro game multi-disc, and Snowcross Championship Racing. These games haven't been tested under the new system. I believe the reader for that is a lot cleaner in its application of reading video games, whether they're scraped up, if they have like little chicken scratch marks, it does tend to recognize them a lot better than the original. Another standout game was Centipede. This one is in the the disc holder from GameStop, just to protect the backing of it. And Italian Job, which was $2.99 at the time of purchase. For the PSX, it is readable on this this Western version of the PSone Combo kit. And other than that, pretty much that's like just a brief overview of those games. When I first bought this bundle, I was also looking for a few memory cards to expand upon that original console, and these were just thrown into the deal. So these were freebies, and again, you get everything that you need all in one package. And the next test that I'm going to be doing is a gameplay. I might record again using my Meta smart glasses, as they are front mounted with a camera to give what footage you guys actually just saw in this video, that POV footage of me testing out a power bank that I'm going to be getting for this, so I can plug this DC into that power station and have more of a designated mobile setup that is a standalone gaming experience. So without further ado, I guess like that pretty much, I guess I'll go ahead and cut the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed this unboxing experience and a trip back in retro time, as I'm like collecting every single bit of what I missed out on growing up, and being a huge fan of Sony's PS1 and PlayStation all over again. So everyone else is so quick to go for PS5 and PS5 Pro terabytes and all this other stuff. I already have my PS5 mounted on the main screen or main TV, and I wanted something that was going to be like its own setup kind of thing, to where I could even go so far as to plug this into the wall, like where my regular phone charger would be, and then watch a YouTube video in the background and play my Resident Evil or Team Rocket or whatever, and game while I'm watching YouTube, hearing another video game enthusiast talk about different consoles and different builds, so to speak. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next one, maybe with later updates in real time, playing out in the field, using this in my car. I'll give you guys updates as we go along. This one is a little bit different of a video than what we're used to here on the channel, because this is Spectrum Vlogs, and this was worth vlogging. Like, I mean, let's face it, this is a really cool experience, unboxing experience. But when it comes to the actual channel, you will find a lot of footage when it comes to like self-shot videos of me in theme parks, and like getting updates from Universal Studios, Disney, and different trips, and travel vlogs and stuff like that. So check out the channel for more content. And this one's going to be a relatively long-winded one for those of you who are probably at work. I know I would appreciate watching this doing graveyard shift at my particular job. If your job does allow it, do not watch this video if you're gonna get in trouble watching it. So like, don't lose your job and don't write me with your troubles, because I have my own. But without further ado, I'll go ahead and cut off the video here, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one.